Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Episode 7 of Big Time Auto Racing. Another one in the books. It's like clockwork these days. We're racing pretty often. It's been fun, but we have a lot to talk about. We raced at Dominion this past weekend, which is a pretty far drive for the two of us, both. Takes me, how long is it for you? About 4 hours?
Yeah.
About 5.5 for me.
Yeah.
So.
3 hours, 45 minutes, 4 hours. I mean, It's all dependent on how 95 goes.
So I will tell you, I don't mind road trips to go to the racetracks. But god dang, man, going through like you said, 95 and stuff, that sucked. That was a damn. We drove through a storm Friday, so I didn't come up till Friday. But anyway, before we get into all that, let's talk about our track ratings. This week, every week we do track ratings, and we keep up with it. At the end of the year, we're gonna have a true champion and a true shitter. Somebody's gonna be at the very bottom, so we're gonna be like, "Hey man, gotta fix your stuff, gotta get better, right?" We're here. We love you.
We're gonna give awards for both.
We love you,
best and worst.
But we're here for. If you can't tell, I've had a couple beers already this time. So we're changing things up on Big Time Auto Racing. It's the first one we got to record in the evening in a while. So let's start us off with ratings this week. You carry the ratings.
Yeah, so like every week, folks, first off, we went to Dominion Raceway in Woodford, Virginia this past weekend. I think technically it's like Spotsylvania, but if you look at the racetrack,
dude, for the longest time I thought it was Sportsylvania.
Yeah, it's got. I mean, there's an address that says Dominion Raceway, Thornburg, Woodford, and then if you like click on the Facebook thing, it says Spotsylvania. So
and Stonewall Jackson was killed basically right behind Dominion Speedway. That's no big deal.
Right.
Crazy.
So we've got configuration, condition, and also, as you guys hear us normally talk about in there, the raceability kind of ties all in with that. So for me, obviously, any of you that have been to Dominion, I think you'll be able to relate to this. If you have not, if you go to their Facebook page right away, you'd be able to see it. It is an absolutely beautiful facility as far as what they've done there. You pull in.
Road course.
Yeah, 90% of the time you got track days happening on the road course. On Friday nights, they do bracket racing on the drag strip. Motorcycles.
We got to see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane. So beautiful facility. Their press box.
Yeah. Well, they got a mega press box.
It's a bar and grill, full bar. There's a music hall, which we'll get into a little bit later. Dylan and I had our cancer pediatric patients this weekend, and that happened in there. So just a beautiful place.
New pit crew members.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, for the configuration and condition, and like I said, the raceability goes in there with that, I would actually say, I had told Dylan, Dominion, it can be racy and it cannot be. And I can honestly say, I personally feel like it might have been its raciest this past weekend that it has ever been. Obviously, everybody knows how the finish was. So for me, I gave it an 8 on the configuration and condition. And like I said, kind of a subcategory with that is the raceability for Dominion. So mine was an 8.
Yeah, that's pretty high score. I think going into this, we both probably. So I told you last week. So this is an absolutely terrible scale that we have going on as far as the first three, because honestly, we could have a whole rating system based off of just the first category, because you could just separate those configurations, conditions, and then raceability, and also the facilities. Like the facilities at Dominion are 10 out of 10, right? But the raceability, I think, is getting better. Like you said, I've watched a lot of races on over the past couple of weeks, so like I knew that it was not the raciest racetrack we go to all year, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it is it does have some unique characteristics, and it does have passing opportunities, and you can be really good there, you can be really bad. Unfortunately, I was the latter, but it was it surprised me. Mm-hmm. You got to have a good set of proverbial balls, because it does. You got to be able to drive in really hard and pick up the gas really fast. I found myself making more mistakes on that racetrack than almost any other one. And we'll get into that later. But just because, like, you can literally kind of forget to pick the gas up,
Mhm.
as weird as that sounds. It was just so odd for me. But with all that being said, as a very outspoken advocate for worn out racetracks and sometimes even shittier facilities, I still gave it a 7. So a good score, probably higher than I thought it would be, but it is a 7 just because it was raceable. And I'm trying not to be critical of it just because me personally, I kind of sucked.
Yeah, well, and I think for me, not to get too, long-winded here because, we'll touch on it more when we talk about how our races went. But kind of what allowed me to keep that score kind of high is I personally feel like, in my experiences there, the top was more apparent this race than it has been in the past when we've been there. I made passes up top. I've seen a lot of others up top. I mean, it wasn't.
I got around a couple on the top.
Yeah, it wasn't a lap or two get to the bottom. I mean, as folks seen, the ending of the race was a side by side battle.
Yeah, hell of a race.
So
I think it'll continue to get better. I think the more it wears out, the more
absolutely
characteristics they have in it. I like the bump off of 2. I think that should stay there. I think if it had a bump off of 4, you might even see even more passing opportunities. I think when you have something on the
big wrecks,
an imperfection, no doubt.
But no, I get
an imperfection on the racetrack is what some guys get thrown better. I'm a guy that relies on those things, right? Because it's just what I was raised on. I was raised racing at Hickory,
right?
So like I've always loved rough tracks. I'm sure Landon, if you brought him in here, he would say he's probably the best off 2 because he kind of is used to running through bumps and stuff. So it does have some characteristic to it, other than being badass fast. It literally says that on the front stretch.
Yeah. Next up for us, folks, is the phone signal category.
So I was wrong. Friday, I said, man, my signal's great. Saturday, it went all to shit.
Really?
Yeah. So
what do you have again?
I got Verizon.
Yeah, we got to change that.
It went all to shit. So I gave it 3.
A 3?
It was bad.
Well, I'm not, I have...
And it was probably just because of the traffic or whatever.
T-Mobile, formerly known as Sprint.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, mine was great.
Yeah.
I mean, I could pull up a race trace in 2 seconds.
My thing is I couldn't even tweet. I had to connect to Seth's AT&T hotspot to be able to tweet. Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Really?
But to be fair, maybe it was just me, but I mean, I'm just giving you an unfiltered opinion. If my signal's good at a racetrack, I give it a high score. If it's not good, I give it a low score. Last week at Wilkesboro, the last race at Langley, it was good and it was fine. Wilkesboro was okay. So, my worst posting conditions. That's why I didn't post anything all damn day because I couldn't get text or nothing. So it was weird.
Mine's probably going to seem abnormally high then, guys, but like I said, I mean, I've got T-Mobile and I tweeted at the racetrack. Pull up a race trace.
Everybody
race
listens
monitor.
are split up too. Right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The Verizon guys were like, damn it, screw that track. But
yeah,
maybe I don't know. Maybe it was just me.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, mine didn't matter where I was. Mine worked great, so I gave it an 8 because, like I said, mine worked great.
That's okay. That justifies my really low score then, at least. Concessions. So this week, you told me before the race, hey man, let's not put around this time. Let's actually try the food out. Let's try the so Friday night, that was obviously a different preparation. What we ate with the families and stuff. That food was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily concessions, but concessions on Saturday, I did go check that out. Took a picture of the menu. I'll even post that on the screen right now during the show. Pretty good, a pretty good sized menu. They had a lot of options. I'm not a big eater on race day, but I did eat some chicken tendies and some fries. They had some cool twisty fries.
Yep.
And they had they threw some onion rings on there. And the chicken tenders were really good. The only reason it wasn't higher than a 7, which is what I gave it, was because they didn't have any ranch left. They ran out of ranch.
Gotcha.
They had bundt cakes.
Yes, they did.
That's cool, right? What racetrack has that? They had a lot of like sort of more gourmet options, I should say, like some hoagies and stuff like that. And when I say gourmet, I mean compared to other racetracks, they had some stuff on there that you don't really see at racetracks. So really cool. And so gave it a 7.
Yeah, my Shelby got some of the, I'd about call them wedges. Yeah. Nothing was wrong with them. It was just their French fries, and so that was all I had. But they were good, so I gave it a 7 as well. Based that off of the fact that you and I both finally did actually eat something. and for a racetrack, like you said, I mean, it
Yeah,
had a
real
pretty diverse menu. So
yeah, real good for a
I
racetrack.
know a lot of my team guys had stuff, hot dog, chicken sandwich, stuff like that. So
There was
I
one
gave
more
it a
thing
7.
that did bring the rating down slightly. Another reason it didn't caress 8, 9 even for me was because I seen Dad got a hot dog, and I seen his hot dog, and the chili looked horrid. So it was very super runny. You turn the hot dog sideways, and it would just all run off like brown water. So that wasn't big. That didn't help the rating much.
Yeah,
and I'm
I
not
mean-
hating on it. The hot dog might have been great. And
Yeah.
I love a racetrack that puts effort into concessions, but I'm a really big hot dog fan, and if I see something I don't like on a hot dog, I'm pretty critical. But I just wanted to point out why the place wasn't a 10, because it was a couple different things, and it would have been really high. Up next, facilities and bathrooms, facilities and shitters, whatever you want to call it. So the facilities there are immaculate. They're really nice. Tech sheds are really nice. All the buildings are really nice.
There's
the
a
bathrooms
stage in
were
the
really
infield.
nice. There's a stage in the infield.
Big screen.
I gave this one a 9.
Yeah.
A 9 for me. Super nice. The bathrooms were really nice. I was able to use both numbers in that bathroom, and both of them was comfortable. So
There you go.
I feel good about it, and it was a solid 9, probably
Yeah.
the highest one all year so far.
Yeah, I gave it a 9 as well. Like I said, I've been there, but I know the first year we went there, I finished 3rd. Josh won that night. Bobby finished 2nd. They took all 3 of us after the race up top. They took the podium finishers up top to meet with fans, kind of sign some autographs. Regal bought us some beers up there. So
Forgot to mention the big screen too.
it's
part of the deal. So
yeah, it's
a track that's ready to race trucks at for sure.
Oh,
Trucks, Xfinity,
absolutely.
whatever.
absolutely, yeah.
I could
The
see that
speakers
happening.
definitely work.
Yeah, speakers are very loud. Speakers are loud. They were very loud, to say the least.
But yeah, I gave it a 9 as well. I mean, it's a beautiful facility.
Okay, so a couple high scores there. That's probably our highest combined score on facilities and shitters all year, I would say.
Yeah, probably.
City and nightlife / food / hotels and whatnot. The city's cool. I mean, there's plenty of options. Nothing that and I'm talking really Fredericksburg is kind of the closest town to the racetrack. It was okay. There was plenty of options. I didn't feel like it seemed very touristy, just a stop and go kind of place where everybody gets a hotel before they go to DC. It was, the hotels and stuff were clean. There was plenty of them, and a lot of them was sold out. The prices were okay. Nightlife and food, we just basically ate Hooters both nights because it was close to the hotels. So I gave it a 5. Nothing really special about the town, in my opinion. I know there's a lot of stuff very close to there that's really cool, but
Yeah.
The actual surrounding area wasn't that special in my opinion.
I gave it an 8, but because kind of like what you said, I mean, we've been up there now, like I said, the past couple years, stayed at that same hotel, which is right across from one you stayed at. There's a Hooters behind it, which sometimes because of how late we get out or whatever, could potentially be the only thing still open. But Dad, Shelby, and I went to Legends Grill, and it was really good.
Yeah.
Kind of like an Uptown Charlie's, folks, if you've ever been there type vibe. TVs everywhere. Food was really good. We had seen it the past couple of years. We'd been up there, but it had always been closed by the time we got to the hotel. So Friday evening, after we got out of the dinner with the families, we went over there to kind of hang out, and it was really good. So, and also there's a Wawa Market.
Oh yeah,
That's right up the road. So
you're a big Wawa guy.
Yeah, big Wawa guy. So that's why mine got such a high score.
What'd you give it?
8.
Oh
Yeah.
damn! On the city and nightlife.
Yeah, I did.
Man, this is Dominion's a high score for old BP tonight. So my total calculated rating average is a 6 for the track.
Yeah, mine was an 8. So
Grand total 7.
Yeah.
So 7 7.0 puts Dominion in. Let's see here. What position is Dominion in?
that would
now?
tie it with Ace.
Ties
fourth.
it with Ace. So yeah, we got a 2-way tie for 4th place. Ace and Dominion with a 7.0 for the big time auto racing ratings. So let's get on to the rest of let's talk about our nights, I should say, our race recaps. Man, I can start us out this week. I know you went first.
Yeah.
Last time. I don't really have a whole lot to recap. We I mean, I sucked. We I mean, we brought the old car. We couldn't make it to practice on Friday. We just kind of scrambling to get the car together and then testing to make sure everything was okay, shake it down. So didn't get to make it up on Friday, which is, kind of puts you behind a lot in the car store. So especially for a new track and all that good stuff. So I knew going in, Thursday, we knew we weren't going to make it Friday. And I kind of had set my mindset or expectations pretty low at that point. And, I think every time I set my expectations low, I always still subconsciously want to exceed those low expectations. And I didn't, just kind of did what I figured would happen. Wouldn't be able to really make any speed in practice or qualifying. We didn't buy any mock tires. Only had 2 practice sessions and made 2-3 runs to kind of just learn the racetrack a little bit. And that's a track that's very vital to learn pickup points and stuff like that. So, just never really got a grip to it, or, never really learned the track before it was time to race. So I learned everything about the track the first 40 laps. And by that time I was already being kind of hard on the right front, was try to not use as much brake some laps. Some laps I'll try to keep it on the bottom. Sometimes I'll roll the top and just realize I had to go too hard to keep up with people. And, that's just kind of the story of our race. I had to go about 100% to keep up with who's ahead of me. So, and we're starting from the rear. So I got around a couple guys, and swapped some spots here and there, made up some spots on the restarts, and then would lose one, gain one, whatever. We ended up 21st, started 26th. So I guess it's a gain, but it's really just by attrition because some guys had some tire troubles and whatnot. So wasn't a great day for us, but finished the race, didn't have any damage. Kept Betty in one piece. I was a little worried about her going there. I didn't, she's a 17-year-old chassis, so it's pretty dated and kind of heavy and stuff, and don't really adapt to the high grip. It's never been on a high grip track. The highest grip track has been on Tri-County, and that was with just the corners paved. So, it's difficult to learn a racetrack that fast, even when I get to practice on Friday. So, there's everybody there had pretty much been there a few times or at least once or whatever. So, it was difficult, and it's not my style of racetrack. I can damn guarantee that. I'm not really I like being off the throttle. I like going through the bumps and figuring out how to technically work my way around someone on the bottom or the top, and learn how to run through the bumps without upsetting the car too much. And that's something that, just being a guy that grew up racing at Hickory, that's just what I'm gonna probably like, right? I think that's why I'm better at passing at Wilkesboro, Hickory, stuff like that, and I feel like I'll be solid in the future at Florence and Southern National and even Ace. Not that it's worn out, but
do you feel like as a driver that when you go to these places now on the tour that are more gripped up, that you're kind of already just man, since you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Since it's not a worn out place, as you put it?
Yeah, no.
Or was it fun, the fact that you could run through a bump? Because I think we're putting it lightly when we say bump.
No, I wouldn't.
It'll drag a truck arm.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't excited about Dominion. I mean, this was kind of the race I circled that, if we had to miss one, it would be this one.
Right.
Because back-to-back 6-hour trips for the hauler and for the guys that all have 9-to-5 jobs, and me included, and it's hard to justify trips like that for us as a team. And I'm not playing the broke card, but it's just a part of it, man. I think if you're, everybody has a budget to some degree, so you gotta manage things. So we have a pretty small one, and we're hotels and rooms and stuff like that is not what we can really spend the money on. We want to make ourselves faster. Right. Which is, that's what we need. We need speed. We need to be able to go and unload quicker.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's just hard to do that when you've never been there. And I know, going to a track like Florence for the first time, I felt pretty good about it. I was like, man, even if even if we're not good in practice and qualifying, which I don't expect to be, right, at a first time at a racetrack. I'm not a great qualifier on tracks that I know. I'm more of a long run guy, always have been, and when I know I'm going to a gripped up racetrack, I know my chances are pretty low in the beginning. This is really the second one we've been to. I mean, Ace is pretty gripped up. Tri-County kind of is, but it's unique, so it's different. Haven't been yet, but we should have been by now. And Dominion is just the biggest animal out of all those as far as grip goes and speed. I've never been that fast. It felt like in a race car. Maybe at the end of the straightaway at some tracks feels just as fast, but to me, the just the amount of off throttle time, the small amount of off throttle time there is weird. And honestly, it's just not my damn style. I've never been. I don't even like that kind of shit on iRacing. So it's definitely hard to do it in the real thing. And but that's part of it, man. They didn't make the schedule for me to like it. They made it for good racing.
Right.
And it was a great race.
Yeah.
It was an awesome race, and I would, as a fan, I'd have been really satisfied. As a driver, it's just not a track that I'm good at. There's how many different tracks do we go through in a year? Is it 8, 10, whatever?
Yeah, I'd say
whatever it
yeah,
is, however many different tracks we go through. Most of them I like. There's a couple that I'm not a big fan of, and that's kind of part of the deal. So that sucks. And we, like I said, finished 21st. Didn't have the run I wanted to have. I was hoping to exceed expectations. But I didn't really. That's kind of what I figured would happen. We would just try to go out there and finish the race. I didn't want to be a lapper, but just didn't have the pace to keep up. I mean, it's not like it's a technical track to drive. It made, I wasn't doubting myself as a driver. It was just like, we couldn't get around there. I couldn't pick the gas up like they could. I was too tight.
Right.
And I really got out of the way for the leaders and lost some track position. I probably should have finished, 19th, 18th. Probably should have not lost as much as I did. But man, I just, I didn't want to be that guy. What we talked about it on the podcast a couple weeks ago, how aero dependent it can be when you're behind somebody. And Dad said the leader was about 5 back, and I just let him go. I didn't want to be. I wasn't going to impede on his race. I had there was a gap behind him that I filled for a second and let the next guy go. And sometimes you got to take it on the chin. And this, we got beat this year, obviously, every week, but, we were competing with who we should compete with this week. We just, I just got my ass kicked. I couldn't really do nothing about it. And, I didn't adapt quick enough to be able to tell the crew what to do to it. So it's just one of those things. And, it's not my style of racetrack. And to say the least, I'm looking forward to the next month or two of what we have upcoming. Caraway is a pretty neat, unique track. In the past, I haven't really liked it, but it's worn a little bit since then. And then after that, we go to Hickory, and then we have a couple more cool tracks coming up. So not the day I wanted, but, kind of we did what we needed to do, and that was just enjoy the day, realize what our chances are, keep the car in one piece, finish the race, get some good notes for if we ever have to go back there, and, just other than that, just, bask in and just being a part of the tour and traveling and still enjoying the process. And even though you're not winning or not running where you think you should run, doesn't mean you should have a terrible time. So we're still having a good time with it and still celebrating. Just like the Slurp Shot sign says, celebrate everything. So we're out here racing, having a good time. So it's been pretty fun. All right, so now we can get into yours. But that's how my race went. It wasn't very cool. Not a lot of cool shit happened. Didn't do a lot of passing or nothing like that. Finished 21st. But you had a pretty, you had an up and down sort of day, but ended up with a decent 11th place finish. How'd your day go?
Yeah, so we qualified 10th, which is a lot better than where we have been. Mm-hmm. Clean air at Dominion, even though the track was very racy this weekend, is extremely important. So, wasn't necessarily pleased with it. I was content with it. I mean, like I said, top 10. Starting spot is all right, but I was like, we're on the top. And I had Mike Looney inside of me, and everybody behind was good cars. I mean, everybody, it was super tight. I mean, qualifying every week super tight, but I mean, it was really, really tight. So knew I was gonna have to fight really hard at the beginning, and was hoping to get down. And luckily, I was able to keep Mike pinned pretty tight. We made a little contact off 4. I think he just got free wrapping the apron, and we made a little bit of contact, but. No harm, no foul, and I was able to get in line there in ninth and kind of settle in for a little bit. Similar to like what you said, I found myself, which I think that's just kind of what Dominion produces. It pretty much is a qualifying lap every lap of the race. Trying to keep pace with the guy in front of you and keep a manageable gap behind you. So we got up to 8th. Had a restart where I think many spun the tire or something. There was a stack up. I luckily anticipated it and kind of gave him some room. Got some people stacked up behind us. Then obviously, there was a big gap in front of him and kind of got hung on the top and never could get down. Finally got down in 13th. So those guys we had stayed in front of and passed. Then I found myself having to try to pass them back. So got back up to I think around 9th or so. At one point, kind of just stayed between 9th and 11th all night.
Yeah.
And I ended up coming home 11th. So just fought a little bit of tight, late center, like half a car length behind guys, a little tight on the gas. But, we had speed. It just, there wasn't a huge difference, I feel like, from 6th to 11th, maybe more so 7th to 11th. But Pendleton finished 6th, and I raced with him 75% of the race. So, there wasn't really a whole lot of difference there. Just, I think, clean air and maybe being able to make something happen on restarts. So, proud of our effort. Wanted a little bit more. I feel like now we've kind of had mimicked races between Langley and Dominion. The biggest difference is we qualified better at Dominion, but felt like we had 6th, 7th place speed at both, and unfortunately came on the wrong side of it. So, still making gains. Obviously top 10s in this deal is hard to come by and are much better than right outside of it, kind of being bridesmaid of it, but just part of it. And, kind of as you spoke on, man, it's tough. So, got Caraway coming up, and, I've never qualified good there, but I've raced pretty good there. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's just part of the season for me that I knew would be the hardest. Going to long traveling. First of all, traveling, and then at Langley, the first traveling race really that we've had this year, far travel was we tore it all to shit. So like on top of already being the highest kind of budget we needed all year, we tore the car up and kind of had to fix as much as we've had to fix all year. So like everything that I like. What sucks about it is like I really emphasize being clean, finishing races to start the year off, and kind of collecting the check. But it kind of turned into all that sort of got wiped away, right? So you're like back to sort of square one. So it's sort of now we got to build up again and be able to, that way we'd make it to the next race. And it's part of it's just part of the season that's tough, and we knew it would be. But I am excited to go to Caraway, and honestly, I didn't think I would be to start the year, but it was it's we talked about it being a little bit worn down and stuff now, so it'll be exciting. But before we move on to that, there was a really exciting finish to the race between Bobby McCarty, who won the race, Brendan Queen, Butterbean, and Carson Quaffle, kind of the three that you'd pretty much expect to be racing for the win at Dominion. So it was Bobby took them 3 off of 2 with 2 to go, I guess.
No, I think it was a little bit. I think it was like 5 or 4 to go.
Okay.
You may be right. I mean,
either way,
there was a couple to
towards the
go.
end.
So
we were a little busy when it happened, so we couldn't really. I wasn't too busy. You were, but it was It was a hell of a finish. They went 3 wide down the back stretch. Carson kind of got shuffled, and then Brendan and Bobby raced, and it was a photo finish. all the way back to the line. I don't even know what the difference was, but it was very close.
Yeah.
And it was, you don't really see that too awful much at Dominion, that's for sure. So pretty damn cool. If there's any series that's gonna put on a show, it's the car store. So it's cool. Congrats to Bobby. That was a hell of a finish. That's one that you hang on the shelf for a while and be able to tell that story about how that race finished. And then obviously with the amount of eyes that are on that series, and you're beating like one of the favorites, it's got to be cool for him. And he snaps a winless streak. So cool for Bobby. It was a popular win for sure. And it proves that Dominion does have, you can race there, and you can race too wide and not absolutely run each other over, and beat and bang a little bit and still put on a good show. So props to Dominion, and props to the Cars Tour, and obviously us drivers for putting on a show. I don't think we give ourselves enough credit sometimes, even though we're not a part of that finish. But it's still pretty damn cool to say that we're a part of that series, and putting on finishes like that. So, other than that, there wasn't a whole lot of controversy this week, was there? In our race, I mean, there was. Landon got wrecked. I seen Landon spun out one time. I waved at him. He didn't wave back. He must have been mad or something.
Yeah.
But to be fair, he was running about 12th.
I guess, wrecked. I mean, it sounds like, there was some disappointment or hurt feelings, however you want to characterize it, in the finish.
Yeah.
You talked about it a little bit.
Part of it. Like anytime you get beat, you're going to be mad. Show me a good loser and I'll show you a loser. Like, it's just kind of part of it. I guess that's why I'm shitty when I don't run good.
Yeah.
You like to lose, you probably shouldn't be racing. So I understand that's,
and that's the platform that I guess doing a podcast drives us to talk about. I mean, did you see anything over the line or wrong with the finish?
No.
I'll say the last 10 laps. How about you?
I don't think so. To be fair, I haven't watched a whole lot. I watched on the big screen after the race was over. I watched the replay of Bobby and Brandon coming to the checkers. So I didn't really get to see how they really got to that point yet. And we've done this show early, by the way. This is Monday afternoon we're doing the show. So haven't really got to look at a lot of it and really give you my full opinion. But no, nothing stuck out to me as a egregiously bad, rough move or whatever, as far as Brendan getting to the 8 and then also even Bobby getting to Brendan and the 8, getting underneath them and winning. So, I thought it was good racing, and I think that's the kind of racing that a track like that's going to create, is sliding in there and moving somebody up the hill. So, just part of the gig.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I mean, I guess you feel the same way, huh?
Yeah, well, for me, people are probably like, oh, well, how's this response going to be? Butterbean's his teammate. And, I kind of pride myself on being very honest. I'll tell everybody right now, Brendan Queen is a very aggressive race car driver, and he'll tell you that. Do I think he did anything over the line? No. I'm sure the way the 8 side looks at it is neither one of them won the race, so the contact allowed the 6 to get to him. Did that happen? Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
I can speak, though, with knowing this because Brendan's my teammate. They obviously had a lot of speed this weekend. He qualified on the pole. Led all but, I think, somewhere between 15 and 20 laps.
15 laps.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Led all but that. But he was better. He had a very unique line in 1 and 2. Didn't really see him doing anything too special in 3 and 4. That's kind of a cookie cutter corner, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just kind of is what it is. But he had a very unique line in 1 and 2 that out front, clean air, or if he was able to use all of it, like I said, he could get a really good launch off of 2. So do I think he went in there? Do I think he went in there with the intention to use the 8 up? No, because I think as fast as Dominion is, if he wanted to go in there and clean him out, he would have.
Yeah.
Do I think he went in there with the full mindset that he was going to use all the racetrack that he could and carry as much momentum through the corner as possible, even if that meant he ended up in Carson's door? Abso-freaking-lutely.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I solely do.
Yeah. That's what makes the car.
Yeah,
I mean, good,
and like I said, I mean, did he throw the door to him multiple corners? Yeah, I mean, he did. Is it the reason why Bobby closed in on him? Yeah, and I'm sure McCarty would tell you that. But
I think if the 8 would have lifted and got back under him and doored him back, I think it'd have been fair and acceptable.
Yeah,
so.
and I mean, I seen a thing where and this isn't me talking bad about Carson. I got a lot of respect for that whole group over there. Carson Qualp's a hell of a race car driver, and they're a smart group. And there's a lot of weeks where guys we can't even run with them.
Yeah.
I'm talking about anybody in the field.
Right.
That's who you're chasing. So, but I seen where he said, he told Brennan that, he probably would have gotten into him once, or, he wouldn't have fed it to him that many times. I feel like it's always easy to say that when you're on the wrong end of it.
Yeah.
I can tell you that I know, so putting somebody in the fence is one thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if Carson did catch the fence when they went 3 wide or not. If they did, though, I mean, like I said, you're 3 wide. So, I feel like you divide that up amongst all three. All three of you are going for the win. Ain't nobody going to check up. You're not supposed to.
Yeah.
If it's Brennan driving them in the fence, that's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
But, all three of them were bouncing off each other. So, I just think it was good, hard racing. It made it a very exciting finish.
Yeah.
For sure. So.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's, you got to race rough sometimes, part of it. Nobody got wrecked. Nobody got completely screwed out of the podium or anything.
Yeah.
It was just part of the deal.
And look, and again, this ain't me talking bad. He's liable to come to Caraway and wear our ass out. But, the 8 won 3 in a row this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's finished 8th, 4th, and 4th. So,
yeah, when you're kind of dominating, you're going to get raced harder.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of the thing, and maybe, next time by, Brandon doesn't race him as hard because, he raced him really hard, a couple times ago, or maybe Carson races the shit out of Brandon. That's the fun part about racing is not knowing what's next and who is mad, who's not, who's just, think it's racing, blah, blah, blah. So.
I think what we all can agree on, and obviously it's a cool perspective for you to have because you're just a racer.
Yeah.
Me, like I said, Brennan is my teammate, but one thing I think that we can all agree on, and I'm sure even our listeners, finishes like that, there's now going to be people who maybe didn't watch the race the other night or have kind of been like loosely following the tour, like, there's Carson race night, but that seen the flow clip that's been played now thousands of times over the last 48 hours. Yeah. The Caraway race will have, more eyeballs on it because of that finish.
Yeah.
Nobody got wrecked. And, it was a super close, exciting finish.
Yeah. So. Anytime somebody doesn't get wrecked or completely stuffed in the fence is always, it's cool to see that. I seen, Carson was pulling in behind me after the race, and I seen him and Bobby kind of congratulate each other and stuff. So I don't think, everybody has a perspective of like, oh man, there's probably a lot of hard feelings right now, but it's not like that. It's just everybody wants to win, man. Everybody wants to run good and be proud of what they did. And when you don't win and you're mad, that's just part of racing. So really it just goes to show everybody. I mean, and Brandon wasn't happy either. I mean, he didn't win, so it's just part of the deal. Bob, the only one that left that racetrack happy the other night was Bobby McCarty. So.
Right.
And deservingly so. So it was cool, man. It was cool to watch. I'm glad that it was a race that, and it's not the first one. There's been 3 or 4 this year already that have been like really good last lap finishes. So,
right.
It's cool that's the common theme in Car Store, and it's cool that there's several guys that can win every week. We kind of harp on it, but it's a different winner this week. So I could see there being 3 to 4 more different winners throughout the year, which is really neat and unique. So it's pretty cool that there's going to be the championship battles heating up even more. So there's a lot at stake every week now. So it's a good time to be a fan of the Car Store. It's a good time to subscribe to Flow Racing because it's definitely worth it because there's a lot of cool stuff happening. And if you got nothing to do next weekend, come to Sophia, North Carolina, and watch us race at Caraway. Because Caraway is our next one, and that is it's a unique track. It has a curb on the inside around both corners, or just 3 and 4.
Oh, it's around both.
Yeah. Yeah. Duh. I don't know what I'm thinking. I haven't been there in 10 years, so I don't. I raced there.
She ain't changed much.
I raced there in a limited once, and I think I hit the curb at least 3 or 4 times during the race. I hit the outside wall one time. So, I don't have many laps or a lot of experience there, but, so it's essentially a new track for me again. And expectation wise, we're in the old car. We're still kind of in rebuild mode, trying to rebuild the other car. We did not have to clip it. That's the good news. But there's a lot of man hours involved in rehanging the whole right side of the body. And it's also not new body pieces, it's old body pieces, so they already have their own structure, so we have to kind of fall into that a little bit. There's a little bit of uniqueness to that, so we got to scrape the rubber off and all that good stuff off the donor body pieces, and then of course we have to rewrap it and get everything back right heights wise and measurement wise, and then we got to transfer everything off the old car back to the new car. So there's a lot of work involved. Is it absolutely necessary that we drive the old car? No, but we don't have enough man hours to put into the old car to be able to do it and still work our jobs and be able to live life. So we're taking the old car, I believe, as of now at least, to Caraway, and it has been there before, at least I can say that. It's raced there one time in a limited race back in 2014, but I do think Caraway is somewhat has some bumps going on here and there, and has a little bit of tire wear to it, and has some uniqueness to it. So I don't think I'm going to be that bad disadvantaged as far as the car goes. I mean, it's not like it's a terrible race car. It's a good race car. It runs up front. It's ran up front last year, and so I'm not trying to act like I'm just, it's all driver if I run good. Believe me, it's not. It's because we got the car really good.
Mm-hmm.
But it is it's something that, it'll just be a unique challenge. I'm way more excited about racing there than I was at Dominion. I can guarantee you that, especially in that car. So, it'll be exciting. This is kind of the part where we usually talked about our goals going forward for this race. I would just like to be inside. My goal for Caraway is top 15. That'll be a really good day for us, honestly, in that race car and with this driver. A top 15 is a pretty good day for us. So if we go up there and do that, I'll be really happy. I'm going to leave straight from the racetrack and go to the beach for a week and chill out. So we have a month break in between Caraway and Hickory throwback race. But so I don't know exactly what our podcast plans will be with that. We might have to look into that.
Well, I made note
of the
of
beach with me.
Yeah, I made note of that to talk about.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to figure that out. But
well, I was just gonna tell our viewers, it's definitely gonna be delayed.
Yeah. Definitely a delay. It's not gonna be the day after the race, that's for sure. It'll probably be late in the week or late in the next week or something like that. But we'll make it up to y'all and have some stuff over the off month, I'm sure, to post and talk about. So, but any big expectation? I guess also I need to say qualifying expectations. Just not dead last. That's my only goal for qualifying, and I want to finish top 15. That's my goals for Caraway. It's okay if we knock a fender off or burn the side off of a little bit. That's totally fine. Not too worried about, because we got a little bit of time afterwards. I'm sure everybody else will probably have that same damn mindset, unfortunately, but it's also an old car, so we'll give her hell. Hopefully she does good, and we accomplish some goals and get a little bit of momentum back before we go into the throwback race, because that's some bitch I'm excited for.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about Caraway?
Coin flip.
Yeah.
It's one of those that's frustrating for me. I'm sure our viewers go back to kind of our let's see, what was before Ace? Hickory?
Yep.
So, when you're talking about how much Ace and me didn't get along, then I go in there, qualify fourth. Probably should have ran top 5, So, Caraway, same thing. Grew up going to that racetrack. My grandfather used to take me down there all the time. We'd sit on the back stretch. They do have tailgate spots.
Yeah, really cool.
So I went there in the days of watching one of our car store competitors, Ryan Wilson, Jason York, Travis Swain. Some really good late model races back in the day. I say back in the day, but me as a kid growing up, 8 years and older. I personally hate the curb because, if you hit it, it's gonna mess up toe, and it's not a curb that you can feel. It's not a curb you can be like, oh, I ran up on the curb. And if you hit the curb, it's a problem.
Yeah.
So, it is a fun racetrack, like you said. There's bumps, and it's got character, and it is kind of worn out. It's not a bull ring. It's a fairly good sized racetrack. It's a fast racetrack. You carry a lot of speed into turn 3, and turn 1's opposite. You're puppying down in there, and you got to really get on the binder. So
heavy braking there.
I want to go in there and not get tore up, I was running top 6 last year and got shipped, knocked the windshield out of it. I mean, I finished the race, but I mean, I had somebody try to come in my lap. So, it's been a place where I think I ran 5th or 6th there, and then last year I think we ended up 10th, and then we ran there twice. I think we finished 10th both races last year there.
Wow. Well,
so I've just never been able to qualify there. Shocker. It's kind of my Cinderella story. So kind of like you, I'd love to. Definitely don't want to qualify dead last.
Yeah.
I would love to do kind of what we did this past weekend. Qualify somewhere inside top 10 and finish there. That was the bummer. I feel like in this deal, when you kind of back up a little bit for a second, when you qualify top 10. I think it would be no different than you. You always want to go forward. So if you qualify 15th, you want to go forward. So it was just disappointing, even though it was only 1 spot difference. I had some high expectations after qualifying at Dominion of, okay, I think we have a shot to go run top 10 tonight. And we did. Just, circumstances and not being able to really capitalize on the last 2 restarts. And that's another thing at Caraway. The restarts really are imperative, and it is where you want to get to the bottom. You don't really hang out up top much at Caraway. So my expectations are kind of like yours, go in there, not get tore up, have a good run, hopefully kick this, bridesmaid of top 10 finishes to the curb and get inside the top 10. Because I got to turn around 2 days later and go run South Boston. So
good luck with that.
Gotta
be at the beach,
smoking
cigars and drinking hard liquor.
Yep, I've got Friday practice all day at Sobo and the 200 lapper for the Triple Crown. I will race 2 more times, folks, between when Dylan and I run Caraway on Wednesday night and he runs again.
Yes,
so
and I will not.
Yeah.
I will be at the beach and fixing my race car, probably. Our Langley wreck race car. So
our next podcast, folks, may take place at the beach, which would be pretty cool.
That would be neat.
Because
I could bring the stuff down.
I am leaving for the beach after South Boston.
Yep.
Dylan will already be at the beach. I'm going to the beach for a week after the South Boston race.
Which one are you doing, Carolina or North Myrtle?
We'll be in Carolina.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Damn. Well, it's still not that far.
No, remember we've talked about this.
I just
might be able to bring you guys a good old big time auto racing podcast from the Fat Pelican in Carolina Beach.
Yeah, it'd be cool to work that out. That'd be cool. See if we couldn't do that. I don't have any elaborate plans other than going to the beach as far as the off week or off month. Basically, we just have I have a lot of yard work I'm kind of like doing slowly but surely. So I'm gonna do a lot of that. Gonna try to get my stuff looking kind of good, and then other than that, man, no racing plans that I know of. We've considered maybe a Tri-County race or a Wake County race, but just, after getting torn up, kind of
definitely changes things.
Put those plans on the back burner.
Absolutely.
So, we don't have anything in plan or in place that we're actually going to do for sure, but we do have a few circled opportunities that I'm not afraid of. So,
possibility.
I could show up somewhere, maybe not. We'll see how it all goes. 16 races is already a lot for us, so we'll see what happens. But if I ain't racing, I'll probably be at one and go watch one or something. I'm sure it usually ends up happening to me. So we'll see how all that works out. But other than that, man, just really gonna do some chilling, I think, over the next month, and depending on how Caraway goes, possibly some soul searching. See what we need to do to get good for Hickory. I always have the throwback race circled and set highly every year, even if I ain't a part of the whole Cars Tour.
Right.
That's always a race that I've pretty much ran. So that's a race that I've ran more than any other race, annual race in my career. So I've only ran like 5.
It's a big deal because I feel like now, and I know even you can probably speak to this. I feel like the throwback race is just a regular points race, but I feel like it's kind of became its own crown jewel of big events, for the year. So this next month, 6 weeks is big. Like I said, obviously we've got a Wednesday night show at Caraway, which is something a little different.
Yeah.
And then the first leg of the Triple Crown is at South Boston, and then I will run the Hampton Heat in July. I think it's the 22nd. And then we got the throwback race the very next week. So
a lot of racing.
I'm gonna be doing a lot of racing. We've been trying to get some momentum going. There's twin 50 lappers at Orange County this weekend that I would love to go to. Anybody that's followed my career or heard me talk knows that I think Orange County is the greatest racetrack on the eastern side of the country, and I still feel that way. No disrespect to any other racetrack. I absolutely love that place, but as much as I would love to go there, we won't be. We're not going to go.
Yeah.
I think Stephen Dunn was trying to antagonize me to come. I'd love to come. Anybody out there who needs a driver, I would definitely do that. But yeah, if you're looking to check something out this weekend, folks, they are having twin 50 lappers at Orange County. I seen Cade Brown's going to go, so I feel like they might get a pretty decent turnout. So,
no
but yeah, like Dylan, like I said, I am going to go do a little bit of chilling. But there will be racing in there for me. So really not a.
We're gonna have to play some golf at the beach at some point. That's for sure. Golf, beer, beach. That's my plan for the next month, basically, and race car repairs.
Yep.
So, yeah, not a whole lot going on after Caraway. My plan is to we'll do a show obviously after Caraway. The thing is, I'm leaving from Caraway to go to the beach, so that means we'll probably do the show. And you're racing that weekend anyway, so we couldn't really even do it that weekend.
Yeah, it'll potentially, hopefully, come out sometime the following week, the week of the 4th.
Yeah, week of the 4th. So maybe we record it down there at the beach or something. That'd be kind of neat. But we'll have some plenty of stuff to fill the gaps.
I think you just found an excuse to extend your beach trip as well.
That's true. Any bird counter update?
Are
we still kind of stagnant where we were after?
Yeah, no, I didn't give one at Dominion.
I didn't give no.
Too busy.
We didn't talk about birds at Langley. I didn't give no birds at Langley. I just gave some firm words.
Yeah, I didn't give a bird at Langley. I didn't give a bird at Dominion.
Yeah,
One thing I did want to touch on, and I know you and I both kind of covered it on our social media. I want to shine some light again at Dominion. Dylan and I, as well as the rest of the Touring 12 drivers, had pediatric cancer patients
and their families.
I got to meet Dylan's family that he had.
Yep.
I had Locke and Lynn, a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old, so it was really a pleasure meeting them. I can't say enough about Minnie and his family as well as the tour. I know how hard Minnie's family worked. We had dinner Friday night. There was a comedy show.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday there was skydivers came in. That was pretty cool. Those guys were hauling ass.
Yeah, I thought they were coming in too hot.
Yeah, I did too. I thought there's no way they're sticking
really
this.
Going fast.
But those guys were awesome, and they've definitely got a set on them because, I mean, they weren't gliding in there. I mean, they were.
Yeah, it was cool.
They were carrying some serious speed.
Really cool.
But,
they did a great job with the whole deal. It was neat to meet all the people that are stronger than anyone you've ever really met. So it's David. David Price was on our car, and he's he's battled leukemia, and he's about kicked its ass at this point. And he's doing really good. But he'd never been to a race or anything, so it was really neat seeing that perspective, and got to push him around in the car and take him through tech and all that stuff, and it was pretty cool. But just seeing everybody, it brings things into perspective to you, and it made me not too hard on myself about Langley or Dominion after the race. I mean, I kind of had a. It opens your eyes a little bit, and I think every now and then you need stuff like that. But the cool thing about David and his family, they're gonna come race some go-karts with us at Wilkesboro one day, and maybe come to the throwback race and come by the shop and house and stuff and hang out, and just really good people that I look forward to hearing more about their story and all that good stuff. And if racing makes them happy, then I can provide the racing for sure. So that was a really cool deal that Manny and his family put on, and I think I think we all handled it, and it went a lot better than they probably even expected, or everybody took it really seriously, and really I don't think we've really got to do anything like that.
Yeah.
So the whole event with Manny was great. They got to watch out on stage with us, the whole deal.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. We got to see ourselves on the big board and all that. So. Yeah, it was cool to be put on and be a part of it, and hopefully we get to do that some more. So,
yeah.
Man, I think that's pretty much it for me. I talked about how bad I sucked, and what else we talked about? How much you You being a bridesmaid this past week, or bridesmaid to the top
10, yeah.
Damn it, you'll have that, man. Just part of it. You just got to keep on grinding, keep on digging. They put themselves in 4th place on the ratings.
Yep.
Tied for 4th with Ace with a 7.0.
Yep.
So a good solid,
exciting finish with some theatrics.
Yeah, good finish. Not my favorite racetrack in the world, but it wasn't a bad racetrack by no means. So, pretty neat, pretty cool to go haul absolute ass for.
Yeah, you said you were a little sore, which I told you. I said, man, you're gonna
sore. For sure. Yeah, no, you were right. I was damn tired. I mean, it was you're holding the hell on.
I was too.
You're going pretty fast. So, yeah, we'll see you guys, I guess, in probably a couple of weeks. I don't know. Like I said, going to the beach, but
yeah,
we'll get it out.
We're hoping the week of the 4th. Hopefully, Dylan will extend his beach trip.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'll just play golf the whole time. Problem is, I get my car fixed. All right. Well, anyway, appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks everybody for listening. Give us a rating. I think it helps. I'm not really sure. If you give us 5 stars, do anything other than that, then you can go yourself. But I appreciate you guys listening. We'll see you here in a couple weeks.
Thanks, guys.